Good morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning here once again in the city of Ibadan. Welcome to the program. The program is Reviewed on the Street, where we go through some of the top stories making the headlines. This morning we'll be looking at the screaming headlines on the front page of the newspaper as we engage the bystanders to collect their views. Stay back. Welcome back. With me this morning is the Nation newspaper. We'll be starting with the Nation newspaper this morning, and the screaming headlines we have there is APC PDP clash over worsening insecurity. What Buhari is doing by ruling party. Policemen, agency, chief killed in Kogi, Ebonyi. We need US, UK rescue mission, says Governor Sule. Can seek urgent action. And also we have Governor to review Owerri attack mastermind. We can find that on the page 7 of the Nation newspaper. Lady applicants raped, killed, buried in Huyo. Police exhumed body. You can get that on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Foreign portfolios investment drop in. You can get that on pages 17 and 24. Nigeria's order free to take more loan, says IMF. You can get that on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. We have labor queries, NAC, that is NERC, parameters for tariff review. You can get that. You can continue reading on this page, on this particular topic. You can continue reading on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And on to the next one, I have the Vanguard newspaper. The screaming headlines on the Vanguard newspaper says, attack on our offices, threats to 2023 poll. That is coming from INEC. See that on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Fidelity Bank shareholders approved 20 kobo dividends for 2020. Can get that as well on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. Wema Bank celebrates 76 years of customer satisfaction. Find that on page 21 of the Vanguard newspaper. And to security, Ohaneze invites MASOP, ESN order for peace talk. As IPOP orders sit at home, bans church services on May 30. Seek advice from experts. Oreogu, I never said IPOP was responsible for killing in Southeast. That is coming from Owodo. To read more on this, you can get it. You can get the full details on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. We will no longer tolerate those seekings to draw Nigerian into anarchy. DSS1. You can read more on that on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. COVID-19. Federal government bans travelers from India, Brazil, Turkey. You can get that on page 25 of the Vanguard newspaper. Access Bank shareholder, okay, 19.55 billion dividends. You can get the full details of that on page 21 of the Vanguard newspaper. And on to the next one, I have the Tribune newspaper. On the front page of the Tribune newspaper, the screaming headlines there says Nigeria owes China $3.7 billion. That is coming from DMO. Outrage over rape, murder of Akwa Ibom job seeker. We have the reincarnations of that as well on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. Our relationship with First Bank professionals, Honeywell Group, page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. Afenifere justified for not supporting Buhari, Fashoroti says at its 70th anniversary. Get full details of that news on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. Out police intercept 13 gun, 753 GPMG ammunition in Ebonyi. Get the full details on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. Government raids Akwa Ibom INEC office. Key Kogi pensions commissioners. Abroad local government chairman. Find that on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. That's all we have for you on the front page of the selected daily newspaper. We move on to the next stage of it, where we'll be engaging the bystanders and collect their views as regards some of the top stories. We'll be like to inform you this morning that today's program is going to take a little bit of the usual conventional practice. We're going to have a different, a kind of a paradigm shift in our practice this morning, as we'll be looking at some of the different issue contraries to, alongside with what we have in the top stories. We'll be looking at something quite different from what we find in the newspaper this morning. Stay back. I think over a week now, we received an information from the Lagos State Police Command stating that Baba Ijesha molested a 14-year-old girl, minor to be precise. And a lot of people have shared different opinions as regard that. Some said it's true, while some said the sexual indecent assault is not enough to judge or to assume Baba Ijesha to have molested the minor sexually. What is your take on that, sir?
Well, just as you rightly said, that it generated a series of opinions from people. Well, I believe there is always two sides of a coin. But when we look at the issue at hand, as regards molestation, harassment, sexual assault and all, we can say it is enough. The fact that there is a CCTV evidence, which was released by Punch some days ago, though it has been brought down. I think yesterday I read the news that the video clips have been withdrew from Punch side. However, the video evidence has given us enough reasonable evidence to confirm that this act was actually perpetrated by Baba Ijesha. And I don't think in a functioning system, suppose we have a functioning system, that alone is enough to charge Baba Ijesha to court appropriately. But it is quite unfortunate, the kind of system we find ourselves in Nigeria. It is who gets what, how and when. It's a power structure. So once you have power and you have influence and people that be, you can easily maneuver things and get away with it. There was this under comment section yesterday. I was going through some comments. You still find people supporting what Baba Ijesha said, that the lady in question was actually making sexual advances to Baba Ijesha. In short, their claim was Baba Ijesha, the lady was wrong for making sexual advances towards Baba Ijesha.
That is talking about the victim?
Yes, the victim, the lady. Some were even saying that the lady is more than 14 years old. The claim was the girl was 14 years old. Some were claiming that the girl is beyond 14 years old and no. The question is, was the lady harassed or not? From the video clip, even though when Baba Ijesha was arrested, he was making confession. He made a confession that he was wrong, that one spirit took over him. That was why he was doing. So why do we have a twist of the story? The person in question has confessed himself that he actually did it, and Nigerians should forgive him. So I don't see any reason why the case will still be pending. By now, they ought to have charged him to court and let the judge prevail, the court of law. Let the law prevail on this matter. But it's quite unfortunate that in Nigeria, once you have people, you have power, you have money, and you know people that big, you can easily go away with whatever wrong.
Very well, sir. Sir, in the video clip, and according to what the foster mother of the victim said, that is Princess, the popular comedian, she said that a CCTV footage was set in place, a camera was set, right, to prove or to establish evidence. And she said she left Baba Ijesha with a minor, the 14-year-old girl. She left them both in the room for 3 minutes. That's what she said. Now, from what she said, is that 3 minutes enough? Is it sufficient enough a time for Baba Ijesha to have perpetrated the alleged crime? I want you to see it from that perspective. What is your position, sir?
Had it been that there was no CCTV evidence which caught Baba Ijesha making advances. The man was touching all sensitive parts of the lady, of the girl's body. What other evidence do we want to see?
Okay. Another thing is this. Sorry for cutting it short. You will agree with me that deliberately the foster mother, that is Princess, I like to state it clearly, she's the foster mother of the 14-year-old girl. Princess deliberately set the minor, the innocent girl, closer to against Baba Ijesha, closer to Baba Ijesha. Let's see what happened. Is that not temptation? How do you categorize that?
Baba Ijesha, as an elderly person, that is a factor. He is a public figure. That's another angle. In Nollywood as system, these people are the character of Baba Ijesha, and people like him are expected to be given us a kind of moral enlightenment, moral sensitization. You know, we have societal decadence now. There is a menace of moral decadence in our society. So people like Baba Ijesha should be people that we'll be looking up to as a good example. Now, arguing that it was a deliberate plan by Princess, the foster mother of the girl, to set up, then she, Princess, never forced Baba Ijesha on the girl, even if it's just a minute. The fact that he fell victim of such. If Yoruba will say, Tio Basie Ino Efi, there is a reason that prompted Princess. I believe from my own angle that she just wants to establish the fact that, you know, she might have been having insinuations and suspicions, you know. But in order to confirm her doubt, she staged that angle. Maybe let's see if actually is trustworthy or being in care of my girl child or not. Let me see. And less than 3 minutes, he messed up.
Very well, sir. 7 years ago, they said 7 years ago the girl was molested, sexually molested, and from the test carried out, they discovered that there is there was a new penetration from the test carried out. If the girl was sexually harassed 7 years ago, is this still the same penetration of 7 years ago that is still reflecting now from the medical test carried out?
Okay, you know, there is something called psychological influence. When an underage person, be it a boy or a girl, is sexually harassed, it registers on them psychologically, which if proper medical attention, counseling, and all kind of psychological education is not given to the victim, there is every tendency, according to science, there is every tendency that such child, be it a boy or girl, sexually harassed, can perpetually seeking such, thinking it is right. It is a norm. It is something that should be desired. However, the fact that Baba Ijesha sexually harassed the girl is the point. Medical reports that there are other penetrations is another point. But we can link the two. If the girl had not been harassed sexually 7 years ago, there is every tendency that she might not pick interest in having other sexual experiences and interests. So we can relate the two. God forbid, suppose the girl is my child or your child. Are we going to be debating this way? Aren't we going to be emotional about it? But let us put emotions aside. Princess, the foster mother, I believe, was not convinced about her suspicions. That was what led her to stage CCTV camera in the room and lure Baba Ijesha in to see if her suspicions was right or wrong. So on this note, I want to believe Baba Ijesha, there is every tendency that the chances that he is a culprit of sexual assault is higher than being set up.
Now, looking at what the Lagos State Police Command said, they said what they found is indecent assault. What they found as an evidence on the CCTV footage is an indecent assault, not sexual harassment. And from what they said, the case is bailable, according to what the unnamed senior police officer said. Now, what is your take? People believe the public don't need any more evidence. The Nigeria Police Force don't require more evidence beyond what they've seen. But truly, the truth and fact must be established as regards the case of Baba Ijesha. They believe in the CCTV footage never captured where the act was actually perpetrated. So what is your take? How do you prove that? How do you prove that?
You know, I said earlier, in this country, all you need to skate through all erroneous behavior or any act of misbehavior, be it sexual, whatever crime you commit, once you have power, you know people that be, and you have money, you can always escape through. The law enforcement system of this country is very poor, and that is what we have that leads to insecurity and all. Police claimed that the offense is sexual harassment, assault, and not harassment. What is the difference between assault and harassment? If assault is given a longer time, won't it lead to harassment and all other things? Suppose they claim that it didn't show. Does it have to? The fact that, okay, what is the motive? The motive should be the bone of contention here. I look at a young girl and I'm touching a sensitive part. What is my motive? If I'm privileged to be given more time, won't I do the do? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. So, on the part of Lagos Police, I believe they have been settled. So let me use that word. They have been settled. So there are influences from one angle to the other that prompted them to be seen. A guy was caught indecently touching an underage girl's sensitive part within 3 minutes of being left alone. And you are still claiming that it is just sexual assault, not harassment. What is the difference?
Thank you very much. Stay back, sir. Sir, do you agree with that terms? I don't know if you conversant with the news of Baba Ijesha, that is the raping minor, that is a 14-year-old girl. Are you conversant with it? Do you follow the news?
I heard the news now.
Okay, now, so what is your take? Do you believe?
I can't say I believe, and at the same time, I can't say I don't believe.
Okay.
Because anything that we heard from the radio or media, we believe it. But this is a country whereby anything can happen. People can stage manage news. People can. So, but we are told that Baba Ijesha has been arrested and is now in custody, and the case is going on. So we don't know how far. We are waiting for the result, and we are waiting for the justice. That's what I can say.
You agree with me that the issue of case in this country, looking at how complex the Nigeria law system, right, or the judicial system has been so far, it's a very difficult case to prove in the law courts. How do you think these issues can be well addressed, or perfect reasonable conclusions can be reached on the issues of Baba Ijesha alleged rape case?
It is a simple thing, as I understand. But the problem we have in this nation is that this nation is not ruled by law. This nation is ruled by men. You know, if this nation is ruled by law, nobody is higher than law. And if anybody violates the law, he or she know that he's going to face the consequence of sin, of law. But a country whereby men is ruling, we when we hear no today, tomorrow it can be yes again. So nobody know, though we are expecting the justice, but nobody know how this case, nobody know the end of this case. And to prove this case, if Baba Ijesha is not caught, you know, one thing I believe, when people say this man is a thief, this man is a thief, if you diligently do research, you will see the symptoms of stealing in his life. I believe that Baba Ijesha that was caught, it is not a lie, or that people say what the people say about him is a lie. No, he was actually caught in that act. But we believe that people that are in charge of that case, God will lay his hand on their heart so that they will come out with truth and the justice.
Very well, sir. Looking at the issue of rape, you know, people have different definition, diverse meaning to definition. You agree with me that giving a social definition to any social issue it comes in a relative form. Your own definition might be quite different from the definition of another person entirely. How do you define rape in your own statement, sir?
Rape, even though biblically, the Bible says that if you look at a woman very well and out of your heart you begin to feel love or lust, you have already raped that woman. The Bible calls it adultery or adulteress. So raping, even touching a woman is raping. Having, you know, what we call love in this country is not a love, it's lust. You know, everybody say, I love you, I love you. We don't know the meaning of that love. If I meet a lady and I say, I love you, and that lady responds, I say, I love you too, you know, that lady has promised me, and it's rape. We can call it under raping. Not until you fall, not until you lie on the bed, or not until the time you see the nakedness of a woman. And you can, so, in fact, raping is in diverse way. Seducing is a raping. When I begin to seduce a woman, I'm raping her because I'm trying to confuse, I'm trying to win her onto myself. So raping is in diverse way.
That is, you're talking from the biblical perspective. How do you define rape, sir?
Rape. Well, I think from the universal angle, they see rape as a forced or unconsensual sexual act between a man and a woman. Unconsensual from either part. A man can rape a woman and a woman can as well rape a man. So it is a forceful act of sexual or carnal knowledge, having a forceful carnal knowledge of opposite sex.
Okay, having a forceful carnal knowledge, right, of an opposite sex, regardless,
yes.
Regardless, fine and good. Regardless, from the CCTV footage, do you think, are you not seeing the young lady, the 14-year-old girl, responding to the advancement, to the sexual advancements made by Baba Ijesha?
Under law, before we can say that someone is of age to determine what is wrong and right in respect of sexual and sexuality, it has to be of certain age. Each country has stipulated age limit. In Nigeria, I think it's 18. Even if the lady is 17 plus and is doing it, Baba Ijesha as an elderly person supposed to caution. So the fact that he too is interested in that system, in that scene, in the scenario, he is also interested in it.
Okay, knowing fully well that the young lady doesn't have the physical strength or power to fight back. Is that your position, sir?
Yes, we can say that is one point. Another point is whether or not the lady have physical power to fight back. What about psychological power? What about the mental awareness, mental orientation? lady might be as big as anything. Once she's underage and she lacks sexual orientation and boy to girl orientation, there is every tendency that a smaller guy that is so small that she can easily overpower can rape such a girl. It has a lot to do with mental orientation, and as a matter of fact, the fact that the girl is underage and by law it is punishable. Making advances to an underage girl, what is the motive? The motive is purely immoral. So let us look at it from that angle. The fact that Baba Ijesha was making advances or responding to the advances made by the girl, maybe we should put it that way. The lady underage, 14 years old girl, making sexual advances to a full-grown man above 40, and the man in his stupidity responding, then there is no other definition of immorality from that. Baba Ijesha is in right position to call the girl from out of love. Just like Baba rightly said, that should he be a kind of a loving person, supposed to call the girl and nurture her. This is wrong. You have to wait for a particular number of years. Even though you want to have this, why not wait till you have your own husband? Things like that. These are the things that is expected of Baba Ijesha. But he failed. Rather, let us assume that the lady was actually making sexual advances, a 14-year-old girl. Let us ask ourselves, if your daughter of 14-year-old making advances to another man, and it was somehow reported to you, how will you feel? The most sensible response any sensible person will give is, a 14-year-old girl, is that not too young? We can assume that she does not know anything. It's as simple as that.
The 14-year-old girl, no doubt about it, has been going through the lot far back, 7 years, right? It's been going through the lot, no doubt about that. In what way do you think the public, the family member, and the associate of the foster parents can be of help? How do they help this lady, this young girl? If care is not taken, if not properly managed, this might lead to, right, something uncalled for and may affect the little girl's self-esteem. How do you think this little girl can be managed? How do we bail him out of this vulnerability?
You know already, what happened to that lady now is a public disgrace to me, because everybody have heard it now. That so though we don't know the guy, we have never seen her. The television refused to parade her on television. We don't see her face, but it's a disgrace. But now, the parent and the well-wisher, they can still call the girl and say, look, you have made this mistake, you have made it, and it's not the final of your journey. Don't do it again. First of all, they should go and test the lady. Maybe this during sexual sex, one can contact a disease. Let the lady be taken. Let them take the lady to the hospital. Let her be tested and assure that she's okay. After that, let the well-wisher or the parent call her, sit down. You don't need to do this thing again. It is not yet time for you to do it. It's too early. You still need to go to a university, finish your education. When they oriented her educated her on that aspect, I think the lady will summon her courage and pick. It's not it's not the end of her journey.
Okay, do you think the lady should be taken out of the country? Is that another preventive measure for her?
I'd love to make chip in something from the question asked our Baba here. The lady is sick. To me, she's sick now. She's a sick girl and needs treatment. But the kind of treatment she needs is in 3 parts. 1, she needs psychological treatment. 2, she needs medical treatment. And 3, she needs spiritual treatment. So let me start from the later. The spiritual treatment requires religious intervention. If she's a Christian, this is where a knowledgeable, experienced man of God, a man whose heart, I'm not talking about pastor here, I'm talking about a man of God, whose heart longs, desires God and religious morality and spirituality. So they have to come in, give spiritual counsel, spiritual enlightenment, and spiritual reorientation for the girl. That is that. Then prayers are not inclusive. Then the medical treatment. She needs to be visiting the medical practitioners. You know, for underage people, you know, all these doctors we have, they have specialty. We have we have pediatrics for children. We have gynecologists for females, treatment of sexual related issues. We have the dentist and all. So there are so she has to visit the right doctor for medical attention, proper medical attention. That is that. Then the psychological treatment. She needs to visit constantly a psychiatrist that serves as a guidance and like a counselor. Now, a guidance and counseling unit, she needs to be put right. So these three has to work as one simultaneously to ensure that this young girl picked up the remains of her life, because the life has been one way or the other altered. Is it the social attention that she has generated? You know, some people, she might be the shy type that does not like having a kind of elaborate social lifestyle, but now she's in the media, so she needs attention. So on that part, she has to be properly taken care of. Then from the family angle, they should show her love, they show her compassion, and they should let her feel that evil things happens in this world, and when it happens and doesn't claim your life, then life goes on. And let us see that the perpetrator of this evil act has been served well. Then that will register in her head that this is actually a wrong. She might not even know the gravity of the offense that Baba Ijesha has committed, or the gravity of the wrong that she too has showcased in the course of responding to this the sexual advances from Baba Ijesha. She might not know. So when the culprit is being punished according to law, and she is made aware of the punishment being meted at the man in question, then her head will pick up. I'm like, so this thing is actually an offense. Then it will prevent her from such acts in the future. So because we can't say she's entirely free from sexual advances. No one is free. But if it happens in the latest time in the future, she will have a better approach to it, sequence to the experience she had. But if Baba Ijesha should be bailed and life goes on, that we have another disastrous mental influence or damage on the girl. So that is what I see.
So you believe there is no need for her? Some people think or propose the young lady be taken out of the country. What's your take?
I don't see it as a necessity. The other country, the rape case there is alarming. You go to United States, go to United Kingdom, there are gangsters. In fact, the rate of their hoodlums, drug abuse is what leads to hoodlums and all these social vices we have in our society. It's very common there too. So taking her from Nigeria and Oribibe, she has to be properly managed here. And I believe with the intervention of spiritual person, psychological person, and a medical person, she will be well. And this phase will be over. It's just a phase. You just have to let her see that this is a phase. And she can just change location because of societal stigmatization. So she can change. Maybe she lives at Aleki before. She can be relocated to maybe Aja or Ikoyi or VI or lowland, any of the lowlands. She can just relocate and be having a normal life. You change her school, If she's still in secondary school, change her school from far from where she is, so where people knows her. Change her environment entirely, not necessarily take her out of the country. No, it's not necessary. I don't find it necessary. Just change the societal structure of where she lived before, then the school and everything, the church she attended if she's a Christian, the mosque she attended if she's a Muslim, the environment. Just change everything and relocate her. With all other things mentioned, spiritual, psychological, and medical attention, she will be well and everything will go fine.
Thank you very much. Daddy, what is your last advice for parents? I want you to advise the parent as
The parent generally, I want to advise we parents. Number one, we should have time for our children. Number two, we should make sure that our children become our friend. We should not allow distance, because if in the case of this girl we are talking about now, is because the children is not closer to her. The children, you know, we parents at times we leave house in the morning, we come back in the afternoon, no time, so we don't know what happened. We don't know the company our children is keeping with. We don't know, so we should have time, because these children are our hope in the future. The time will come that I won't be able to come out as I'm being now, but my children will be the one I will rely on. If I don't play my role, if I'm not competent in my responsibility, then I will eat the fruit in the future. So I want to advise all the parents, let's have time for our children. Let them become our friend. It is when they become our friend, they will tell us what is in their mind. You know, the issue of this Baba Ijesha is not a day case. The interrogation, the interaction has been going on underground. But nobody, there is no one the lady can open her mind to. If to so the parents are very close to her, she will tell the parent that, Daddy, do you know that Daddy there is asking me this, is asking me, no, nothing like that. So please, we parents, we will not labor in vain in the name of the Lord. Even though biblically the Bible says we should train our children. It said train your child in the way he should go. When he grows up, he will not live there. When I don't train my child, then if anybody around train another thing, he will subject her to that. So we parents, I want to advise us, let's have chance for our children. Let's train them. No, it is true we are trying. We send them to school, we pay school with school fees. Many of us now, we have the mentality of sending our children to a private school, and it involves money. But we should not spend that money in vain. At the same time, let's sit down with them, ask them, what happened to you today? Do you enjoy today's class? What happened? By that, we make them our friend.
Thank you very much. Let's rise up to responsibility. That has been the advice of my guests on the program this morning. It's a very, very interesting one, enlightening one, and educative one for that matter. The next one will be coming on your screen. Always visit Heritage TV for more top stories and other information as regards news making around. I am your regular anchor, Yekin Abidemi, and my cameraman, Akintola Ibrahim. Thank you.